Tefnut, Geb, Nut, Asset, Sotoch, Neptihet, and Haru. And the governor, Tum, or Tem, also called Atmu or Atum. Each one of them had a symbolic name of their ancestors: water, earth, air, fire, which are the four elements. Khunum assumed the form of a ram. Khunum assumed the form of a ram, a supreme being of creation that is a symbol of masculinity. He is accompanied by Satis and Anukis, symbol of modernity, the Anunnaki, which is a symbol of femininity. Khunum molded the great cosmic egg and fashioned Azaru. And fashioned Azaru. Osiris, God the Father, and all other living creatures. In Nubia, Khunum is called Dedun, a man wearing a ram's head mask with a sun disk, Ra, having wavy horns of the ram, also having a plume of Atum, and the Urios of Wadajet, his wife Satis. Anukis was from Ta-Nehisi, Sudan. Anukis carried a staff and wore a feather crown of the red parrot. His daughter Satis, who was also Khunum's wife, was the Nitirt, supreme being of Sanu, Aswan, in Ta-Nehisi, Sudan. She wore the horns of a cow and conical crown, carrying bows and arrows, and was shown with a star upon her head. The Greeks called her Hera. Her land was called Ta-Satet, the land of Satet, which is today called Tuti, the junction of the two Niles. So, creation took place in Ta-Nehisi, Sudan, at the junction of the two Niles. Khunum allotted each being 120 years on earth, no more but less, if they followed the laws of Ma'at. The Greeks called him Khunumis, where he looked like Amun, but his horns were wavy as opposed to Amun's sweeping curves. Behind the Khunum stands Tehuti, Thoth, using the pen to record each life, the recording angel. It is recorded in the book of life, Revelation 20:12, and on the leaf of the secret tree, Holy Tablets, chapter 7. When the leaf falls, the person is dead. Khunum was the point in the center with four deities around him, who were Re, the sun, or the light in each being's seat of light, which is the consciousness in mortals. Shu, wind, which is the breath of life in mortals, the mentality of the mind. Geb, the earth or septime, black mud clay, or the dust of the flesh of all mortals, matter and body. And Tefnut, moist, water, blood, liquid in the body, which is rain, life source, and the intellect in mortals. Khunum is intellect himself, intellectually perceiving itself, and consecrating intellections to itself. And is to be worshipped in silence. Khnum, Khnef, Khnimu, Junupis is the maker of the body and places the soul and spirit in the body from the deities by use of the higher faculties while functioning in the physical body. To all the religions of the world, he would be the creator God. He took the clay and shaped the body of the mortals, breathed the breath of life into them. Isaiah 64:8. He is the Yahweh Elohim, the Theos, the Allahu El Khaliku, the God who said, "Let us, the Egyptian supreme beings, create a man in our own image and after our likeness." Khunum is the Yahweh, Jehovah, and Asaru is the Elohim Elo. Now, Anubis. Now, Anubis is a Greek form of the Egyptian Anubu or Anpu. He presided over embalming. He is the guide of the soul of the deceased through the regions of the Duat or Tuat. The animal representing Anubis is sometimes called a jackal, sometimes a dog, and probably a composite of both. He is the angel of death, known as Israel, the son of Anu and Ed. Israel is one that will cast you and your seed into the lake of fire. Speaking, he is the one who will take. He is the one who will take you from this world and make you feel the pain of this world caused by you. He has 70,000 feet and 4,000 wings of haste. When someone dies in this world, his form goes from his body, and Anubis is present at the scene of the weighing of the heart, ruler of the day of judgment, overseeing the correctness of the procedure and making sure the heart is not erroneously given to Amit. The dog jackal feasts on carrion, turning it into sustenance for itself. Hence, this choice for the deity of embalming. Anubu prepares the corpse to serve as the receptacle for the resurrected or reincarnated spirit. Khonsu was the adopted son of Amun and Mut. He is the reaction between Amun, the spark of divinity, and Mut, affection, and became the third member of the Theban triad, replacing Montu. The son Khonsu, as his name indicates, is action. Khonsu is derived from the root Khenzu, which means to travel, to move about, to run. Khonsu is the traveler. And in a popular sense, identified with the moon as it travels through the sky. In a mythological sense, he is the messenger of the deity. The Greeks named him Hercules. The Greeks named him Hercules. He is the symbol of the angel Gabriel, the Holy Ghost, who travels the heavens and the earth, the messenger of God and the Most High. His usual form in Tama-Re, Egyptian art, is that of a young man or child, bound as a mummy, with a side look of youth, and a crescent, and a full moon upon his head. In his hands, which emerge from the bindings, he holds a crook and a scepter. His name appears to be derived from the word meaning to cross over, a wanderer, as I said before, speaking. A traveler, suggesting that Khonsu means he who traverses. This is a fitting title for an moon deity, Nitir, supreme being, angelic being, such as he. The Egyptian story of creation began when Ra rose out of the primordial egg. That means that the egg existed first, or the golden egg, just as the sun is reborn every morning. And even in your Bible, in Psalms 84:11, it says, the Jehovah Elohim, Lord God, is a sun, S-U-N, Shemish, physical sun up in the sky. As you know, the Egyptians already had the Enneads and the Octoads, who took their history from the sea as the figure of half frog and lizard creatures, and gave birth to the Ennead. If you look at the figures of Osiris and Isis, and you look closely at their characteristics, they are not all human. They look more like extraterrestrials. In fact, they are sea creatures, because as stated, the Octoads were from the sea, and Atum rose from the sea and formed his descendants, the Enneads, such as Isis, Horus, and Osiris. When the Mizraimites came over the Tigris-Euphrates River and mixed in with the dwarf Pataites, who were descendants of the reptilians, the Octoads, these beings had their barytheric gland. The Mizraimites accepted these sea beings as their brethren and admired their higher psychic abilities. The original Pataites, whose culture was called Nuwaupu, were into a metaphysical doctrine. Digihutis, dealing with the mind, became the talisman for them. All the children of God are composed of the same substances. You can take a chemical rate of the human body, and regardless of whether you are white, black, or Chinese, you will be composed of a bunch of elements mixed together, making the composition of the physical body, such as calcium, magnesium, etc. So, this is what you are composed of. The elements are water, because your body is 3/4 water. You think you are breathing air because you want to convince yourself that you are not reptilian speaking, when in actuality your air is nothing but water, oxygen and hydrogen. So you are underwater. You are just not under massive water. Your environment is the same as your composure. So when you get past the Mizraimite family, you go down to the dynastic period, and in history many bypass the Enneads as if Isis, Osiris, and the Agnoads didn't exist before them. This is another trick that the Euro-American historians like to play. So the first act of creation, which means to grow, was descending forth from Nu, the ball of the sun, the creation of light. Timu, Atum, symbol of the eel. Bull, lion, lizard, mongoose because it would kill serpents and eat crocodile's egg. Evolved the thought in Nu. And when the thought was expressed in a word or words, the sun appeared as the result. The great Atum, symbol of Akir, the lion, became Iri, from the ancient Aramaic Ari or Aryeh, the sacred word of the lion's head. Descendants of ancient Aksum, Ethiopia, also called Ancient Tama-Re, Egypt, symbol of the Namuz, or crown, or the lion sphinx, today called Dreadman. And this is where your Genesis chapter 1 story comes from. So let us continue. So each succeeding act of creation represented a thought of Timu, and its expression in words, which probably took the form of commands. The material sun, or the body of the sun, was worshipped as the source of heat and light and life by many Egyptians, especially under the political influence of Pawabat, the priest of Ra, at Anu, Heliopolis, city of the sun. Again taking you back to Egypt, the Helios, Greek sun god, according to the Neolithic Egyptians, was Re, the sun's supreme being. The hierarchy focused on the sun because they understood its true power as an amazing generator of electromagnetic energy, which is affecting our lives and behavior every second of every day. The sun contains 99% of the mass of this solar system. So it has 99 secret names and 99 attributes. Just think about that. The sun is the solar system, and when it changes, we change. Understanding these sun cycles and moon cycles and the changing nature of the energy it projects allows us to anticipate how human beings are most likely to react to various events at different times. As with the text that forms the basis of various religions, there are two levels of knowledge in sun worship. In the ancient world, the hierarchy focused on the sun because they knew its effect at deep levels. The masses worshipped the sun because its heat and light had an obvious and crucial role in ensuring an abundant harvest. Do you understand? Now, also, there is more than one Adam. Yes, that is what the plagiarized scriptures from the ancient tablets that you believe in teaches, speaking. In Genesis 5:2 it states, male and female created he them, blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. Adam, whose real name is Zakar, was told to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, as found in Genesis 1:28. Each time the planet was refilled, that was a new Adam, such as in the case of Adam of Genesis and Noah of Genesis 8:17, whose real name was Utnapishtim in the Gilgamesh epic tablet 3. He was also an Adam. In Genesis 9, Noah is told the same thing as Adam in Genesis 1:22, to be fruitful and multiply. Check it out, people. Adam is merely a term meaning man or mankind, from the cuneiform Adama, meaning earthling, also meaning of the ground. The Hebrew Phoenician translation of it became Edom, from ruddy or reddish brown. As it was mentioned many times before, yes, there were beings here before Adam and Eve. According to the holy tablets, Adam and Eve were described as having parents named Atum and Lilith. Lilith being from the Kuthite tribe and Atum being from the Hindu of the Watusi tribe. Eve's parents were Ptah of the Dogon and Anath of the Havilaites, both of which were pygmy tribes. As a matter of fact, there were more than one Adam and Eve. There were actually 4 sets of Adam and Eve. For instance, the name Adam, pronounced Augaum in Akkadian town, a dialect of cuneiform, is a title and also a tribe. Genesis 1:27, meaning dark brown of the earth or lifeblood. A name like Adam does not necessarily mean that it's talking about the same Adam that is recorded in your scriptures, because there was a different Adam in cuneiform. It's Adama, and it means earthling upon each reconstruction or replenishing of the planet Earth. The first tribe or beings were called Adamites or Adam. What I mean by reconstruction or replenishing is that the planet Earth was destroyed more than once, Genesis 5:21, and called their name Adam. The 4 sets of Adam and Eve were originally referred to as the Ogdoads, Pachiminu, and they existed when this was a completely water planet. These 4 sets represent genetic shifts every 4 generations, giving birth to various types of humans that would eventually dwell on dry land that would appear later. The first Adam and Eve were the Sumerian Apsu, meaning one who existed from the beginning, and Tiamat, meaning maiden of life. They were known to the ancient Egyptians as Nun, meaning supreme deity of the ocean, and Nunet, meaning female supreme being of the ocean. Nun and Nunet. The second set of Adam and Eve was the Sumerian Lahmu, meaning deity of war, and Lahamu, meaning lady of battles, and who were known to the ancient Egyptians as Heh, meaning supreme deity of immeasurable as in time, or Nitir of infinity, and represented by tadpoles, each of which symbolizes 10,000 years, and Hihet, meaning female deity. Female supreme being of immeasurable. Heh was also called being of chaos. They were destroyed 17,250,000 years ago by a meteorite shower and sandstorms. The third set of Adam and Eve were the Sumerian Anshar, meaning foremost of the heaven, and Kishar, meaning foremost of the firmaments, who were known to the ancient Egyptians as Kek, meaning supreme being of darkness, void and darkness, and Hiket, meaning female being of darkness. They were destroyed by the second meteorite shower 14,250,000 years ago. The fourth set of Adam was Zakar, meaning rememberer, and Nekebao, meaning female tribal leader, who you know as Adam, meaning lifeblood, and Eve, meaning Hawa, female living being, which means mother of all living of the Hebrew Bible. The fifth set, or the first set of the new equinox, was Anu and Antum, known as Amun and Amunet. Up to the Egyptians. Shu. Shu. Represents light, space, and dryness. He is depicted in the form of a man with one feather surmounting his head. And sometimes with 2 or 4 feathers. The hieroglyph feather means light, space, dryness. The name Shu means literally to raise, for it is he who holds aloft the sky. Shu held apart his 2 children, Geb, the earth, Nitir, and Nut, the sky Nitir. Shu, the Nitir of air, and was also considered to be the Nitir of light. Shu is the Nitir of space, and is at times represented holding up the sky with his 2 hands. As you can plainly see again, the European Greeks borrowed this concept and it became Atlas, the Greek god holding up the worlds. Shu also holds the scepter in one hand, and like most of the representations of power of the one Nitir, Ra holds a handled cross in the other, or the Ankh. According to the text found in the tomb of Seti I, in the Valley of the Tombs of the ruler of Nu Amun, Thebes, in very remote times when the Nitir Ra ruled over the Nitiru and the mortals, Homo sapiens began to utter seditious words against him, and Ra determined to destroy them. He summoned the Shu and some of the Nitiru, among him, and secured their advice, promising not to act until he heard what the firstborn Nitir might have to say. The advice was to slay all Homo sapiens, together with his sister Tefnut, Nitir of moisture, Shu, the Nitir of air, embody the forces necessary to destroy life. As you can see, your monotheistic religions again borrowed the regretful deity wishing to destroy his creation through moistness, which became the deluge or the flood in your Torah, Apocrypha, and Quran. The story of the Hebrew Noach, Greek Noi, and Arabic Nuh. And as you can see, again, we have a triad of names who we, as the Sumerians in cuneiform tablets, refer to as Utnapishtim. He found life, or day of life. The story that they recorded from is an original Egyptian Tama-Re story, and can be found in the Gilgamesh epics. We are speaking of the great flood of Utnapishtim. Yes, this too was borrowed from Tama-Rean Mysteries. Moreover, Shu was identified with the sun and Tefnut was identified with the moon. The offspring of both were the sky Nitir Nut and the earth Nitir Geb. Thus you see you have rain from the sky and waters from the earth to destroy life on the planet, with the exception of those in a boat or craft, or a sea creature, which would include reptilians, which can be found in El Torah of the Jews, Genesis chapter 9. Then the New Testament of Christism, the book of Matthew, chapter 24, 37 through 39, and in El Quran 11, 37 through 49 of the Muslims. In Ancient Tama-Re, referred to as the Mantichet or the Semkitet. The fatherly Nitir lifted the vault of the sky on upraised arms, thereby separating it from the earth. Thus he assumed the function of a support of heaven. Talking about a shoe. Because Atum was identified with Re, Shu became the son of Re. And it was in this matter that Shu, who fought on the son's behalf, was given the lion's head mask. Otherwise, he was depicted in a natural form with a hieroglyph sign, a feather on his head. The Nitir Ra became weary of the earth, and in making his way from the earth and reaching a high place above it on the back of the sacred cow, which Nut changed into. As you can see, the Hindus got the sacred cow worship from here. Also, the Hebrews in the wilderness made a golden calf, Airel, El Torah, Exodus 32:4, and the Christites have it in Greek as Masto Poniin, molten calf. New Testament, Acts 7:41. And the Muslims even named an entire chapter after it and called it in El Quran the chapter of the cow, Surah al-Baqarah, chapter 2:51, originally chapter 87. The Ashuric, Syriac, Arabic word for cow in the quote is El-Ijla. This too was borrowed from the Tama-Re and Mysteries. The bull or cow was known as Buchis in Greek, the Egyptian Apis,